Welcome to Texas!
He's a 10.
I choose this family.
Hi guys, and welcome to episode 41 of 911 Lone Star Roundup. I'm one of your hosts, Grace, and with me are my lovely co-hosts, Katie.
Hi guys.
And EJ.
Hey everyone.
Today we'll be talking about Athena Begins, which was season 3, episode 7 of 911. But first, and most importantly, we are joined by a very special guest, TJ, who you guys might know on Instagram as @Tarlos with a dot before the S. So let's get talking with TJ.
Yes,
Cool.
let's do it.
Yes,
okay.
I'm excited.
Okay, so now we're with TJ. Welcome. Thanks for being our first guest.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me. I feel very honored.
Not to be confused by EJ. This is going to be interesting between
Oh no!
between EJ and TJ and TK and TJ. It's
I
going to be
know.
interesting. But we will work it out.
Hurt.
I know. Like, seriously, like, I was just telling Grace and EJ that, like, the other day when I was saying, oh yeah, we're recording Athena Begins with TJ this weekend, and my phone kept wanting to autocorrect it to TK, and I'm like, no, this is not what I'm trying to say, not in this moment. It's also ironic, because that's exactly what Carlos's mom called TK the first time they met.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
That's true.
It's so funny.
The
I
technology.
have a funny story about that. So I came home one night. I was super tired, but I really wanted to watch that episode. And so I'm over here dozing off, about to go to sleep. I hear Carlos's mom says, "Nice to meet you, TJ." I'm like, "Nice to meet you too." And I woke up. I was like, "Wait a damn minute! Wait a minute!"
Wait a damn minute. Okay.
I love it. That's awesome.
That is fantastic.
Literally.
That is like the perfect intro right there.
That's
Yeah,
also me
literally.
whenever someone mentions Grace and I'm like, excuse me?
I know.
Yeah.
We have to start calling Grace and Lone Star something different. It's saying like
Yeah.
it differently because Grace is like, I am what? I'm pregnant? No.
They're like, no,
Do you
wrong
know
Grace.
something I don't? I have that, would you know who the father is? Because I don't. Start explaining.
Well, so TJ, when did you start watching 911 and 911 Lone Star?
So I first started watching 911 and 911 Lone Star when they Jesus. When they both came out. I was actually about to turn on the news, and that's when I saw a trailer for 911. So I called my grandmother up and I said, "We gotta watch this show when it comes out. It seems really good." And ever since then, it's been me and her show.
Awesome.
Oh, I love that.
I
Yeah.
love that so much.
What drew you into the show?
At first, I was just like, at first when I saw Buck, I was like, "Ooh, damn." Hello.
Me with Eddie.
Same.
Oliver is one good-looking man. Yes, yes,
Yes, yes, yes.
And just the way, like, what was the first trailer even like? It was just talking about, the first responders and how it wasn't like this documentary. It was like an entire show. And I was just like, okay, I guess I'll check it out. First episode I watched, I was like, this is really good. I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah.
I will admit, 911 Lone Star, when I first saw the trailer for it, I was just like, no.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
That's funny. I've never heard anybody say that, so it's really interesting to hear.
Yeah.
I can understand that though, because a lot of times spin-off shows aren't always as good as the originals.
That's actually
So I
what
can
turned
understand.
me off of it originally, why I didn't actually watch it for a few months before I'd rewatched 911 to the ground, and I was like, I need something new. So I started watching, I'm like, oh wait, never mind. This is great.
Yeah, I had only started watching 911 because I knew Rob Lowe was going to be in it, and I've watched other stuff with him in it.
Yeah.
So I had no idea what we were getting into. But I'm
Yeah.
so glad I did.
Honestly, I feel like most of people who've watched Lone Star, they like watch because of Rob Lowe. Like for me, that's like the reason why I watch, even though don't think to my knowledge that I've seen him in anything, but I just knew the name, so I wanted to watch it. And then it was like, oh, now TK, that's my boy.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I got an extreme start when I started watching 911, because the way they phrase things with like a firefighter and his son, I was expecting like a 10-year-old, not a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, never mind.
Well, speaking of introductions, TJ, is there anything you want to share as an introduction for yourself?
Just follow me on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the period after the O. Yay.
Yes. So I guess now we can get into Athena Begins. Yes. I will say, I told Grace and EJ this the other day when I watched it, but I got like a newfound love for Athena Begins because I've only seen it like maybe a few times. And like I hadn't watched it in a couple years, I want to say. And I was like, wait, yeah, I think my ranking has changed, honestly, because I don't know, it made me feel some sort of way like when I watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only watched it once. And as you all know, I didn't get a chance to rewatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm blind here a little bit. But I do remember I liked it.
Yeah.
It was very intense.
Katie, I kind of agree with you actually, because when I first watched it, I've watched it once. I did not really like the episode. I love Athena. She's awesome, but I just somehow didn't get into the episode. So when I watched it this morning before we recorded, I was like, okay, this isn't too bad. And it's got some good music in it. Cause like music I'm familiar with from like the 80s and 90s, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Being 38 changes things, you know. Y'all weren't even thought of at that time. Anyways.
That's true.
I think like you, Katie, I got a little newfound enjoyment from the episode. So
yeah, definitely. So we start the episode with Athena and the whole family practically, like Bobby, Michael, the kids, and May has like a boy over, so like we can assume they're going on a date and stuff. And it's just so like it's funny because Athena is low key interrogating him about like college, and he's like taking a gap year, which is ironic also because the following season May takes a gap year.
Yep.
So it's kind of ironic because Athena's like grilling him all about the whole thing. And
like, what do you do on a gap year?
Yeah, like Athena's like, why would you want to do that? But Athena and Michael like peg me as the people that like want to push college because they're both like just like when Harry's like, oh, I didn't know that going to college is an option because Bobby had mentioned he didn't go. He's like, I didn't know it was an option.
And they're like, it's not. I'm going.
Yeah, Athena was just full on just policing him.
Yeah,
totally. Like, oh my god. I could feel like May's just embarrassment right there, like, oh my god.
Yes.
This is bad.
And anytime when you bring a family to meet, or you bring a significant other to meet your family, just be ready for embarrassment.
Did we ever see Darius again?
I don't think so.
Was he the one that went with them?
Oh no, prom.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
When Athena was in the hospital, yeah. That was the last time we saw him.
Oh yeah.
Well, at least he did come back, so like she didn't scare him off completely.
True.
But have we seen him since?
That's true. Point.
True.
But he's probably on his backpacking gap year trip, you know.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt, but Athena was so Athena though. Like she was totally what we expected.
Yeah.
Or what I expected.
I'd totally see her being like the drill sergeant. Like, okay, what are you doing with your life, and why are you good for my daughter?
Yeah.
And I will tell you every reason you're not.
But I love how she was called out as being like her mom.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
You're acting like Grandma B.
Oh, that is so true.
I was like,
yikes. Yeah,
like,
literally.
Oh,
like,
mother.
I don't like her mother.
Oh my goodness.
I love her dad.
Yeah, I like her dad. But the mom?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I wonder if we're ever actually going to see the dad again.
I don't know. I hope so. But I have a love for him. He was on another show that I was on that I loved him on. He played Robert E. and Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman in the 90s, back before Grace and TJ were even in this, you know, space of being.
Yeah. You make it sound so young and you so old. Like, wow.
No, you don't need an atlas. Like, vocab. My vocab is broken.
No, I love making a joke about my age because I don't act it.
That's fair. No, you don't.
That's literally me when people are like asking me how old I am. Like people I work with. They're like, how old are you? And I'm like 26. And they're like, oh, I thought I pegged you to be like 19. And I'm just like, yeah. But that's, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people think I'm 14. I don't know why.
Let's see, when I was 12, people thought I was 18, and now people think I'm like 25.
That's crazy.
Really?
Yes, I was 12 and someone thought I was 18. And like I matured early, but not that much. I was still very much a 12-year-old. So it's like, what the hell?
I could see like being mistaken for like a year or two difference, but when you start getting those large gaps of age, like it's like, wow, I'm glad you think I'm older, but I'm not.
Yeah,
like when
I
you
know.
haven't even hit teen years and someone thinks you're an adult, and it's like, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And also, like, I found out recently that someone had pegged me for being like 25, and they're like, "You're not," and I'm like, "No, I'm not," and they're like, "How?" And I'm like, "That."
But when a mommy and a daddy loves each other.
You're kind of just like, I don't know if I should be offended or just like,
I thought that
proud.
was very funny because I was like, because I was got told I looked like I was 15, and I'm like, I'm 19. What the fuck? So like being told I'm older, I'm like, I'm gratified now.
And so this is actually season 3. So May is a senior, so she's like 18.
Yeah.
And so like she's like, okay, I want to get out of here. So like, let's go to the movie early.
Yeah.
Harry trying to say, well, I thought the movie didn't start till.
And she's like, shut up, it does start whenever we want it to start.
Well, you know, with traffic and parking.
I mean, it is LA. I would believe
That's
that.
true.
Yeah,
That's
like
true.
you can't blame May of saying, traffic, gotta make sure we got snacks.
Yeah. And then while they're leaving, Elaine, Athena's boss, shows up in her civilian clothes, and this kind of introduces the entire episode's storyline.
Yeah.
She comes to share some unexpected news and wanted to share it with Athena personally, so she didn't hear it from somebody else, that there was a gun that killed Emmett, which we quickly learned was her Athena's fiance that nobody knew about.
Michael didn't even know.
Yeah.
Michael and Bobby were like,
they were married for like 17 years. It's like,
yeah.
Okay.
That's just crazy how long she kept that secret in.
And I love how Harry's like, who's Emmett? He
just pops around the corner, just, who's Emmett?
Yeah.
And then Bobby and Michael are just joining. Like,
they just look at each other like, did you know? I didn't know. Did you know? No.
Yes.
Did she tell you? No, she didn't tell me.
It's like ex-husband and current husband.
And they're both in the dark.
Yeah.
This is a problem.
Yeah, they're like, and now it's like, well, you can't run from it anymore.
Yeah,
They gave each other that look like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What did we miss?
Yeah,
Please tell me it wasn't just me who missed it. That kind of
thing.
Yeah, the Twilight Zone moment.
Right.
Yeah, and like Athena has flashbacks in this moment to like that moment, and then Athena's like, Emmett Washington, he was my fiance, and you're just like, oh, okay.
Like,
I love his last name. Just saying.
Actually, the whole name is very pleasing. Emmett Washington, very pleasing.
It's a good name. Though Athena Washington probably wouldn't have sounded the greatest.
Yeah, it just names like I feel like Athena's is rather short names, so like when it's like it kind of overwhelms it with that like long last name.
I don't know. I don't actually mind the sound of Athena Washington.
It's not as smooth to me as Athena Grant or Athena Nash.
It does sound better with a shorter last name, but like Athena Washington, it's like it's not bad sounding. It just isn't again quite as smooth.
Yeah, it was just like weird how like they didn't know. I could understand like the kids not knowing, but like them not knowing, I don't know. It was so weird.
Especially Michael not knowing, having been married to Athena for so long. Like she never opened up at all to him about a previous relationship.
Something that like previous relationship, she was going to get married. Like it was that far. She literally was trying a wedding dress, like all that kind of thing. Like, yeah, it's very weird to me, at the very least, that Michael did not know.
Yeah,
Neither
but then, Well, that's true. Yeah.
Because Bobby opened up his mind about his family and everything that had happened back in Minnesota and on why he was switched to LA, and neither he didn't know about Emmett either.
Right. And that by what Bobby shared, that totally opened up an opportunity for Athena to share about him.
Yeah, so that's kind of like, ouch.
Yeah. But on the other hand, I do understand that they weren't married. She didn't have a child with him or anything like that. And it was a sore subject. The killer was never caught, so if it felt like maybe a scar that healed over that she never really wanted to dig back into.
Yeah. Well, it was a box she closed and she never opened up and stuff. Like,
I get not wanting to open it back up. Like, I don't blame her for that. I think it's just weird that, like, within the entire time, it never came out. Even just like her parents hooking up or something like that.
And I think that might have been what threw me off with the episode in the first place, is that I was like, wow, this is like completely out of left field. We're like 3.5 seasons into this, and like she's just now sharing that she had a previous relationship. It just seemed off to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, through this, the next scene we get is Elaine and Athena at work, like the next day, going through the evidence and talking about how the gun showed up. I don't remember how they said it showed up.
I believe they found it in a traffic stop.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they did. I think it was like in the trunk or something.
Yeah, and I think the guy was a teenager who Jesus, sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Who apparently wasn't speaking to the police.
Yes, and he had just gotten it at a pawn shop or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or Athena did some, because obviously Athena's like, I need some time off to tell her boss that. Like, Athena needs time off. She's not just going to take it for, like, mental health.
Oh, yeah. Because, like, at first, honestly, I was, like, kind of shocked because, like, she said that she needed time off. And this is even before she started digging into it. She honestly wasn't even making, like, at first, not making any attempts to even, like, dig into anything, to investigate anything and stuff.
And I think it kind of always in the back of her mind that was something she wanted to do, to, like, if it ever came out, she'd want to be the one to investigate. And as a sergeant, you can kind of pick whatever case you want to work on, but this would have hit too close to home for her to really technically do it.
Yeah, but we all know Athena. We know that she wasn't going to back down.
Though, I have to say, you know how we sometimes joke that Athena's like a mom to Buck? Just saying, there was some elements of Buck I saw in Athena in this episode. And I'm like, I wonder where Buck gets it.
I mean, they didn't give us Buck in this episode, so they had to give it to us in some way.
Yeah, I thought about that this morning. It's like, Athena kind of going off the rocker. Sounds like somebody else we know in the 119. And his partner in crime would be Eddie.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, just had to throw that in at least once this episode.
That didn't take very long.
No, it didn't.
So then, kind of like in the middle of the scene, I guess, we go back to 1989. Athena's like in college and she's with like two of her friends, I would say like at a job fair, and this is when they were approached by Emmett to join the LAPD, and they're one of like the friends had mentioned they're all like on law career paths, and I'm like, interesting.
Could you see Athena being a lawyer?
No.
I don't like. I get like at the time, like thinking of her like in college, I feel like I see that I guess career path, but like I could never see her doing that, knowing who she is now.
Yeah. Who she grew to be.
I could kind of see it, even the way she is now.
In a way, I could, just because she's so fierce and like so driven for justice, but like temperament-wise, like the rest of it, I don't know. I feel like overall I couldn't, but there are definitely elements that would have made her a good one.
Yeah, definitely.
So we got to thank Emmett for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
literally.
yeah, and her friends kind of pulled her away, but he kind of gives her his number, and he's like, "Well, if you ever change your mind." So that was kind of the introduction. Emmett's there and trying to get her. I don't know. Maybe it was a job fair. Maybe it was like a club because they were on the college campus, weren't they?
Yeah, but like that's like
It looked like a
they.
career fair.
It looked like a career fair. Yeah, they have career fairs at college, especially like because it didn't look like a club fair. Because like when I was looking at it, I didn't see any other like clubs, and
Okay.
like she was
Yeah.
also wearing like a sorority type thing.
Okay.
So like I kind of knew that it probably wasn't that and stuff.
No, it was definitely a career fair, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then the next scene is her mom was visiting
yep.
her, and they're kind of talking about something that happened to a girl back home. I guess when Athena was younger, a friend of hers went missing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We learned about it in a different episode too.
yeah. I didn't even remember that part of it, but yeah, I feel like it was in another episode. I just can't remember what because I haven't rewatched anything before season 4 in a really long time. But yeah, and like,
I want to say it was when her parents first came to visit.
oh yeah, no, that
Yeah.
definitely makes sense.
No,
I
wait,
think-
when was it?
End of season 2, I want to say. Like she talked about the friend that went missing, and that was what kind of
No, what
inspired her to go. I don't know. It was after Bobby proposed and before they got married, I think.
Yeah, well, they got married at the end of season 2, like in the finale. So,
Mhm.
so it had to be like some point in that season, like before the finale, obviously. And stuff.
I think that was the episode where Athena was like, "Now remember, they're only here for X amount of days."
Oh yeah, and then they first day they're welcome, of course, of course.
I will admit, when I first heard like Athena explaining to Hen why she became a police officer, and then when Athena Begins came, I was completely shocked about how how can I put this? Athena told Hen one story, like she became a cop because of this one single case. It was with her neighbor, childhood friend, or whatever you want to call it. I forgot what she called her. Just vanished, and that's how she wanted to be a cop, because she wanted to eventually find out what happened. And then when Athena came on, it just kind of like we got a hint of that, but it kind of felt like
understated?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Which-
think in a way it was like shown to represent like inspiring her to pick up the job, but I do think they underplayed it.
Yeah, well, I think kind of the point even the mom was trying to get at this, if they had been white, the police would have been doing more, but they didn't feel like the police were doing that much because she was a young black girl, is what I took from that kind of the way she said it, which, 70s and 80s, that's unfortunately what the world was like.
Yeah, it still is.
Yeah, and like I can see from this episode, like that's like with the friend missing, that's like kind of where they were going with like this whole storyline, because once like her mom mentions it, you kind of see like her look at Emmett's number and like. And that then we get into the next scene, which is where she meets up with him and kind of like tries to get more information about like what it would take, like, and that kind of stuff. And like him mentioning that she would be a part of 10% female officers, which that's only like obviously at the time makes sense. It was 10%, but like if she was part of 10%, you can only imagine as like a person of color how much that percentage was.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially for the time.
And I think we kind of also learned that at the time she was an officer, Elaine was also a patrol officer, so they didn't know each other when Emmett was killed, but they met, so I think they were around the same time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is why I think she has a better relationship with her Elaine than just like coworker, subordinate kind of thing, because they have been pretty much on the force the same length of time.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because Athena was worried about standing out, and I was just like, you'll probably stand out fine on your own or something to that effect. Like, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Like, okay.
Okay. And then we get our two favorite women. Athena. I like their scenes. Like, I love their scenes. Like, just seeing them. So, like, I'm always looking forward to any scenes with those two. But yeah.
I love how Hen's kind of like, and you're telling me all this and not your family because
Yeah, like, yeah, because she's like, yeah, like explaining like how she became a cop, or like explaining the story, I guess, to Emmett, to Athena, or to Hen, I mean. And she's like, yeah, I quit law school 6 weeks later. And Hen's just like, I had no idea. I never even suspected it. Athena, you are good at these secrets. And Athena's just like, don't be mad. And Hen's like, you once told me that it's not the knowing that haunts us. And she's like, you were talking about yourself. And Athena's just like, well, I've seen what comes from living with ghosts, the toll it takes. I mean, the man that had fired that bullet had already taken so much from me. I was gonna let him have the rest. I just put all the pain, all the grief in a box. That's the only way I knew how to move forward. And like, this is kind of ironic because Athena said how she couldn't work on the case, basically.
Mhm.
And Hen kind of mentions, like, when did that ever stop you? And I'm like, mood. Mood.
Yep. I think that's kind of Buck too.
Buck,
Like,
God.
since when do you listen to anybody?
That's when it's
Never.
like, wait a damn minute, she's right.
Yeah.
I gotta go, girl. I'll see you later.
Yeah, literally. And then, like, immediately after, Athena goes to see Rick, who we've seen her work with before and stuff. So she messes up his coffee order. She's like, "Oh wait, you like sugar in yours? I totally forgot." And he's like, "It's okay, I'll go get some." And so this gives her the perfect opportunity to print something off his computer.
Yeah.
To get her closer to finding stuff out and stuff. And it's just like,
yeah. And isn't this also when we find out that he was her partner, or Rick was Emmett's partner?
Yep.
So he's just as determined to catch the guy too.
Yeah. And then we get another lovely flashback, which is Athena when she like first joins, I'm assuming, and she gets a partner. And like at first he's like, he seems very sexist and like just everything, like, and he's like saying how she'll quit her job, but Athena's like, don't worry, I will not be quitting. I'll probably make it farther than you, or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's right, because he was saying that he's had like 5 female rookies that have all like he's taught so much to, and then all of a sudden within a couple of years they're quitting to go have kids or something like that.
That's like super like, no,
that's so sexist.
It really is. And like you can see like throughout this like flashback sequence that like she proves him wrong, and I'm like, yes, queen, like
go Athena.
Yeah, like literal badass.
When she literally sat there and said, I don't plan on leaving, but you should treat me as you would treat any other officer.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Yes, queen.
Yeah.
Go off.
Yeah.
I can't say Angela because I wasn't Angela.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was like.
I don't know the actress's name. Does anybody know her name?
Sanuka played the young Athena.
Oh.
This is me. Welcome to Google
Grace.
Grace.
Hold that thought.
Didn't somebody say, was it Katie or Grace? One of you said you were watching something else and she was in it, and you were like, maybe it was Katie then.
I don't remember this.
I don't remember anything about it.
Are you sure I didn't leave a comment? Because she played in The Fosters, if anybody's seen that show.
Oh, I've seen that.
Really? So did the guy who plays Rick.
Yeah.
So did the girl that plays Taylor in the end, very
that's
end.
Right.
That's where I was like, okay, her character, like, let alone she was in like the last couple episodes of that, but she was in that, and I was like, totally different person. Like, I would never recognize her and stuff. Also, I have to like mention the guy that plays Rick has played a cop in like so many different shows. Like, he was on the Rookie, like recently, well, not recently, but within the last couple of seasons, he was on that. I'm trying to think of what else he's been a cop on, but he's been a cop on quite a few shows.
I think I want to say he's been on Blue Boods. He was a cop in The Fosters.
Yes.
Yeah, he's played quite a few cops.
I mean, yes.
He makes a good one. He makes a really good detective.
He really does, and I really like seeing him like in this episode. Like, I can remember. Like, I remember he was in last season in the treasure hunt episode. I also remember the episode, like, the neighborhood episode where they're having, like, the block party. I remember that one, and I'm like, oh, such good episodes. Anyways, we see more of Athena and Emmett in flashbacks, of course, and, like, I gotta admit, they're a cute couple.
Oh, they are. I love them. I really like Emmett.
Yeah, same. I always hate when, like, I didn't get this full-on mood in this, but, like, I always hate when shows cast, like, really good people and they make such a cute couple for, like, a flashback and you know the person dies and you're just like, why?
Yeah.
Because that's happened so often.
Yeah.
So basically, they were going to go out, but Athena mentioned staying in for pizza, and so they were looking for the phone, and of course, it's like an old school, like, landline phone. Old school. I still have one of those, but you guys know what I mean. And, like, it's on the bed, like, under blankets and stuff, and then, of course, there's a ring there, and I'm like, of course, and of course, you know, finds it. I'm just like, well, I had something else planned, but and proposes.
Yeah.
I melted. You know, when they make you melt, even though you know it never comes through, it's like, okay, well, that's sad, but, like, good acting.
Yes. They also casted, like, the perfect actress to play, like, a younger Athena. Like, I feel like
she totally could be young Athena. Like,
yeah. Like, the best casting for, like, younger versions, which I think there have only been a few begins we've gotten, two that I can recall off the top of my head. But Buck and Maddie's younger selves were cast really well, like, spot on. And in this episode, like, younger Athena is, like, perfectly, like, yes.
Yeah.
But then Bobby comes home and we see, like, Rick and Athena, like, in the backyard, like, arguing about the case. Because, like, Athena didn't want to involve Rick. And he had found out somehow that she, like...
Well, he probably could pick up on what she was doing when she came to visit him.
It'd probably be sad if he did. He's a cop.
And he's a detective, too. You're paid to figure things out.
Like, yeah, honestly, I feel like in that setting, they probably, like, you probably just know, even if you didn't get the hint, you probably just know if somebody was, like, tampering with your computer. That might just be me. But yeah.
Also, all I need to do is look at printing history.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I feel like you would know that. So, yeah. And, like, she's worried that they'll put her out of a job is, like, her reasoning, I guess. And Rick just gives everything that's in the file and just leaves. And Bobby is, of course, is worried about Athena, and that Athena is trying to solve this basically, like, all alone, and especially when she said she wasn't going to, which, I mean, what do you expect to happen? Like, this is so typical.
Bobby, that's your wife. You know damn right she's not gonna back down.
Yeah, right.
Literally, like,
have you not learned anything in the last couple years of marriage? Actually, it's only been like 6 months because they got married at the end of season 2. So, well, maybe a year.
Yeah, a year.
It was time. It was time.
If he hadn't figured that out the first, like, day he met her, then I'm concerned about his perception.
Yeah, like, literally, you don't have to know Athena for long to know that, like, she always up to something.
Yeah.
And, like, Athena says that has to be her because she's the reason he's dead, and you're just like, oh. Like, I don't really think the first time I watched this that I thought anything bad about this, but that always, like, one of those statements where you're just like, oh, okay.
Right. And then I think Rick had made the comment that, you know, he wanted to find whoever did that as much as possible, and then he just kind of caves and gives her the information that, you know, he's like, yeah, there's, you know, a couple of ATM withdrawals nearby, you may want to check that out. So he, like, knows there's nothing he can do that's going to stop her.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, here, just take it. Just go. Do your thing.
Do your thing. Yeah. And then next is, like, the bromance I like to see. Michael and Bobby.
Yes.
Yes, I
love those two.
And they both talk about how they told her everything, but she told them nothing. And Bobby mentions that he can't say anything because he had secrets too. But Michael's just like, yeah, but you told her before you walked on the island. I'm like, true.
I also
That
would
is
like to
true.
hold Michael right there because he never told her that he was gay.
That's true.
But
That's true. Good point.
That's a fair point. Like, honestly, like, I get it, but it's also like, I don't know, like,
oh no, I totally understand what they're saying and how they're feeling. I don't disagree, but also I'm like, Michael, you literally kept the fact you were gay a secret
for how long?
17 years. Which, you know, even if he did realize that later on,
right?
Still,
all like not easy secrets to tell or to keep, I guess, in that sense too. So totally understandable, but it's just like, yeah, they've all had their thing,
right?
Yeah.
And I love how, like, I think May comes out and says something like, you know, Harry's room's ready, and Michael's like, ooh, a guest in the house that I built, or something like that. Yeah. And then Bobby grabs his phone, and then he gets up to walk away, and they're like, what are you going to go do? And he's like, I'm going to call in reinforcements, because they all realize none of them can talk her out of doing anything.
Yeah. And I, like, it was kind of, like, not funny, but, like, May kind of mentioned something like, oh, I know how to get her here. I'll just tell her something happened to me. And I'm thinking, May, that is not a good idea to be like, oh, something happened. Like, I'm in trouble. Like, that is not a good move.
Right, no. And they said, and so she can kill us when she gets here? Because
you know that would happen. So we see Athena go on the search for where the gun was bought and stuff, and she knows it was obviously from the pawn shop because of Rick, and she kind of knows that, like, she also knows that because of the ATM, because, like, the ATM's across the street, so, like, that's how we paid for it. And she basically goes from lead to lead for the gun to find the person. It's just like one person after another. It's like, oh no, I got it from this person. Oh no, I got it from this person. And then she eventually, like, I think she eventually goes home.
Yeah.
And she doesn't come home to, like, the most, the things she maybe wanted to. She comes home to, you know, her family, Michael, Bobby, the kids, and Athena's mom. Surprise!
Yeah. Like, everyone she expected, kind of, except her mom.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And I actually really liked this, especially rewatching it, because, like, I liked how Bobby called her and said that he needed her help. I liked it, like, because of that, like, him reaching out to her, but also because, like, the last time we had seen the mom, she was not very nice to Bobby.
Right.
No, she was not. Yeah. I don't like Athena's mom.
I don't either. Like, I still don't
Athena
like her.
Athena doesn't really like her mom.
Dude, like, yeah, like, that was, no, I would not. But yeah, like, I kind of liked her in that moment because she wasn't, like, selfishly there. Like, she was honestly trying to be, like, almost like a helping hand. Like, she wasn't, like, annoying and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, she literally brought pictures of, like, Athena and Emmett to show the kids and, like, explain it to them and stuff. And, like, even for Bobby and Michael's sake too. Like,
yeah, but Athena's mom was like, didn't she say something like, this is the son she always wanted? I'm like, gee, wow. Right. Like, the ex-husband and the current husband.
Did you see Michael? I think it was Bobby and Michael's face. They look at each other when she said that. It was like...
Did she just really just say that? Yeah. We're right here.
Yeah, literally. And, like, they looked at each other like, excuse me, you were right here.
Right.
Yeah, and, like, Athena said, which I really like this line, and she says, I have regrets how Emmett died, but I don't have regrets on this family, because, like, Harry had mentioned, oh, so that could have been my dad. And Athena's like, no, you would have been a completely different person. And, like, Michael has this look on his face like, no. Which any father would. Right. Especially, like, any good father and stuff.
I mean, biologically, she's not wrong.
Yeah,
I just want to argue the biological point right here. Harry would not have existed.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They
that's
would
the
not have
thing.
existed. That's literally not how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you don't just like be like you would not. Yeah, you would not like be there,
Right.
like child.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
there would have been other kids. Like, that's not how it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, and they like kind of in this point they like wanted Athena to get answers and stuff, which I really liked because it wasn't like, oh no, you need to stop doing this. It was like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, what are they gonna do? Like, she's
I'd
gonna
like to
get
see them
answers if they
suffer.
allow her to or not. Not that she needs their permission, but like she was gonna do it either way.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess the more she kind of opened up about it, the more they were like, okay, we want you to get your answers on what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't want to hold her back from closing that chapter for like completely.
Yeah, definitely.
No
And
matter what, she was gonna do it.
I know.
At least with her
Athena.
with their blessing, she doesn't have that hanging over her head too.
Right.
yeah, honestly. Yeah. And I really liked how, like, especially now, like, I really liked the next scene how Athena goes to the call center with Maddie to get answers. And I was like, Maddie, I miss you. Because, like, obviously, like, right now we're living with no Maddie. So, like, I was like, oh, this is a nice sight.
Yeah.
All I gotta say is Maddie needs to hurry up and come back.
I know,
I know, right? It's like, come on, Jen. How long's the baby been around? A couple of months. Okay.
Get back here.
You're good. Get back here. We need that operator gone.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
but it.
He who shall not be named.
I know. Yeah, literally.
Her name is banished.
Yeah. We can say Voldemort before we can say her name.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's true.
That is so true.
But yeah, Athena goes to Maddie. Maddie's like, well, we can get, we can, we don't have calls like recordings as far back as 91, but they have the logs of at least what was called. So they were able to go through the computer logs and find some information, which they then learn in 1991. They have like 50 boxes they brought to go through.
Like, yeah, like that's honestly crazy to think about, especially with like how, because obviously now they don't have like, I mean, they might have like backups of paper logs, but now obviously they have everything backed up like on a cloud or something.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy to think like how things used to be, like how they just can scroll, how they can just flip through books and just see all those. Like, it's crazy. Like, there's like 30 boxes and stuff, and they're just all like just going through each box, and like they split it, like in half where they can be halfway.
And if I'm not mistaken, in the past, like the situation, he'd become a detective by then. Was he a detective at that time? And he'd gotten called away to go to a case, and then she asked him to pick up something at the store on his way back.
Yes, yeah, that.
And so he was just, after leaving the case at the specific location that she was looking for, he got to this grocery store, and that's where he was killed.
Yeah, we kind of get that in the next scene. Yeah. But basically, Maddie finds the call eventually, and it was a call to a motel on February 17th, 1991, and Athena, like, she's getting flashbacks of that, and she's just like, I found him.
Yeah.
Which... yeah, so, like, he was at that convenience store because, like, Athena was, like, trying on her wedding dress, and she was trying to stall him, so she said that, like, her mom was out of, like, her cream or whatever, so she needed him to pick one up, so that way, like, doesn't want, like, to see her, like,
Right.
And obviously he wanted to pick up what he called more son-in-law points. So obviously he's gonna do it.
Right.
And I don't know. Every time I hear that, I'm like, oh god, we already know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. And like, it's just so like sad. And yeah, so like Athena, like within the scene, gets the call, and it's like, we know it's Emmett, and like then we see like Emmett had walked into a robbery, and it was like wrong place, wrong time. That's actually like what the officer says and stuff when Athena had showed up there. So yeah, and like the flashback leads Athena like going to the man that killed Emmett's store, and this scene gives me so many feelings.
Right, because it was hard, because the guy that Emmett had been called to the scene of was at that hotel. He survived the shooting or whatever. So when he woke up in the hospital days later, he found out what he did.
Yeah, like that's so crazy.
And compared to what happened in 91 to where he was in the present day, you would just not ever suspect that this was the killer.
Right.
Mhm.
Because he changed his life around. That moment had like changed him.
Apparently,
Yeah.
he'd done everything he could to like make up for it personally. Everything
Mhm.
except taking accountability for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, yeah, like the whole thing was that he had said to Athena that like he never turned himself in because he took it as a sign from God that he was given a second chance.
Well, at least
Yeah.
he lived his life to the fullest before he went to jail.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, like,
Because there's
part of me, I do feel for him a little bit,
Yeah, I do
but
too.
also at the same time, it's like you still killed someone. You
Right.
knew you killed someone.
Yeah, there's
And
no
you
statute of
took-
limitations on murder.
You
Yeah,
broke my
that's
girl's
true.
heart. You gotta go. You
It's
gotta.
Yeah.
You broke my girl's heart.
He killed a cop, and that's something
That
that the
too.
law never forgets or forgives.
Oh yeah, why would they? Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I felt for him, but at the same time, I'm like, your pain was the only pain you relieved.
Yeah.
You didn't relieve the pain of Emmett's mom or
Right.
Athena or anything
Mhm.
like that.
I like how when Athena was talking to him, she said to him that Emmett was just trying to help you, and you killed him for it.
Yeah.
I was just like, damn, that whole scene just kind of like my emotions were going. Like I didn't start tearing up or anything, but I could just kind of feel the pain that Athena was kind of going through.
Oh yeah, she was very
yeah.
raw.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, and through this scene of talking to him in the present day, we go back to the past of, Athena sitting on the couch watching a traffic stop kind of gone bad. And her mom comes in with moving boxes like she's going to try and pack Athena up to move her back to Florida. And Athena's like, no, Mom, I'm staying here. I'm not quitting the police department because she's realizing, she needs to make a difference on the police force because the traffic stop was something like the cops were really brutalizing some guy. I don't know. I couldn't really see the screen well enough
I remember it was that a bunch of cops were brutalized. I think it may have been a bunch of white cops brutalizing the black guy, but I could be wrong. It was hard to tell because it was really grainy footage.
Yeah, and it was kind of small on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of got like what was happening from it, but I really paid too close attention just because I didn't necessarily want to really focus it on every detail, you know what I mean? Because like it's just so hard to watch those things and stuff, and especially now, like and stuff. So it's always hard.
Yeah. And Athena's mom was like, you can't be serious that you want to stay and keep working with the police department and after everything that happened. And she, wants her to just come home with her tail between her legs. And Athena's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, I think it's just like, she's like, that's exactly why I'm doing it, to show those other officers what they're doing is wrong. And I'm like, yes.
Go Athena.
Yeah, like, because especially in this time, like, this is when you need more diverse cops.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have some people on there to counteract the bad.
And then we kind of move on to like the last, I don't know, it's like, it's the last scene per se, but it's more like it's flashbacks to what happened in the past of Athena going and telling Emmett's mom. And then it's like kind of flash forwards of Athena finally getting the guy and taking him to the station and talking him into turning himself in. And
yeah, which I think she had at that point, even before they got to the station, had already convinced him to like turn himself in because she kind of gave him time with his family, and she kind of was just like, yeah, you're going, obviously.
And that song they used, Your Days Rise Up, was so perfect for this whole montage.
That song.
Me too.
Same. Like, that, like, somebody had posted, like, TikTok about this episode recently and was like, me watching Athena begins and like Rise Up is playing, and they're just like crying and almost like mood.
Yeah.
Ever since I've heard that song, every time I listen to that song, I just go back to Athena. I'm just like, I really feel how Athena can connect to this song.
Mm-hmm. So
Because
true.
she after Emmett's death, she rose up to what she is now, from
Yeah.
a patrol officer to now being a sergeant with her own family.
Yeah. In spite of, everything.
Exactly.
She rose and she did it and she proved them wrong.
Yeah.
She even after, what was it, 20 years? Wasn't that? So it was sometime.
Yeah, it was
Um,
20 years,
oh
which
yeah, it
kind
was
of
20
makes
years.
sense. Which
Yeah.
makes sense with like Athena and Michael's like how long they were married. Like it kind of makes sense timeline wise. Which good
She
job.
probably met him a few years later.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
was thinking. I was literally thinking that as we were talking about like
Because 91 would have been, this aired, and so this was almost 30 years.
yeah, that's crazy.
And we
Like,
know she was in her mid-30s when she had May and Harry.
oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so she probably like met him like a couple of years after.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how within those 2 decades, what she became, and
Yeah.
how,
Mhm.
and even with her own life going on, she was still committed to find out
Yeah.
who killed Emmett, and she did. And just that episode was just
Yeah.
amazing.
And
Yeah,
she'll do it 1,000 times again.
yeah, but I love like just like the closing scene though, even though
yes.
it's so hard to watch, but like you just see Athena finally break down in Bobby's arms and you're just like finally allowing herself to grieve and you're just like wow.
And that was after going and telling Emmett's mom that she found them.
Yeah, that
Oh my
was
god, seeing that, the flashback of her telling about Emmett being killed and then the current day one, it broke my freaking heart.
Yeah, and seeing her finally breaking down with Bobby, it broke me this morning. I was like bawling my eyes out. I'm like, why are we doing this today? I was like crying. I'm like, oh man.
Damn you,
So,
911.
I know, it was so good. And that song gets me.
yeah, literally like
There's so many episodes that just make me just want to hate 911 for being so good.
Oh my god, yeah, when it makes you feel the feels and you're like, I was ready to feel the feels today.
I was just trying to come home and just enjoy my show. I didn't mean to cry today.
Yeah.
that's so relatable. Like,
Right.
yeah.
But I love how Bobby was like holding on to her. He's like, I've got you. And she's just like, just hanging there and just like looking at her badge, like, probably going through like what we just talked about of like remembering what she has risen up through in those last 20 or 30 years in the police force. And then finally having that chapter seriously closed. Like she finally got the answers that everybody needed, including her.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then just to have Bobby there, it's just reminding her that she's not alone anymore.
Yeah.
It's just, that episode is just great.
So props to 911. I have to give this episode like a 6 or 7 out of 10. I think it was well done after watching it again.
Yeah.
The first time through, I was not a fan, and I don't know if it was just I didn't like seeing Athena like going through all the pain, or not. It might have been that we didn't have any like Buck and Eddie and any of the other parts of
Of course.
This was a good episode.
Yes. Literally, yeah. Like I said, I have a newfound love for it. Like I really enjoyed it this time. And like the first time I liked it, but like I wasn't like it's not like Buck and Eddie Begins. While me saying that really sounded like I was trying to say like Buddy Begins, but no. Buck and Eddie Begins. Buck and Eddie Begins. Like it's not like those episodes where like I'm like, oh my god, I can't shut up about it. Like I'm like, it's good.
But I am glad with this one that they didn't focus everything in just the past. Like there's a couple of a Begins episodes where it was all the past. I think it was a Hen Begins and Chim Begins did that. That was a lot to process. But at least like they did the present day and the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like the ones they did in season 3, they were doing past and present, but the ones they did prior, because like obviously Hen and Chim Begins were in season 2, and Bobby Begins again was in season 2, and then the first little snippet was in 1. So I think they didn't really establish like the kind of past, future, or past, current day thing yet. Which I love that they're doing that.
Yeah, me too. Grace, TJ, what do you guys think for the episode?
I would have to say the episode was definitely one on the books. definitely one that will go down as one of the greatest episodes in my opinion. Just because like even though like the episode was, serious talking about Emmett's death and how Athena rose up to what she is, they still had a bit of comedy still in there. Like for one, when we talked about Athena's mom saying what she said, but then there was also that point where young Athena, was meeting Emmett's mom for the first time, and she said, "I hope you brought protection, ma'am."
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part. Excuse me?
I was just like, wait a minute, hold up, what? And then she was talking about her girls at church. I was like, oh, thank God, thank God, thank God.
Can you
having that
imagine?
talk already?
Can you imagine? Like, that'd be so awkward. Like, if I was in that moment, I'd be like, oh, what? No, we will not be having this conversation.
Yeah, that's just like, nope, we're out.
Yeah.
This might actually seem funny, but when we first saw like not Athena's, Emmett's mom, I thought she was gonna be like that kind that would basically sit there and try and judge Athena. But then once she said what she said, I was like, oh, all right, like, that's good, because she kind of reminds me of that teacher like at a middle school that would be nice on the first day, but as time goes on, they just go completely rude.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, overall for me, probably would give the episode probably about 7.5, 8 out of 10. Like it's really impactful. I think it also answers a lot about like why Athena is what she is. I think it really does the purpose of a Begins episode, which is like, oh, that explains it, that kind of thing. And I don't watch it a ton, but it is I think, as DJ put it, it's definitely one for the books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's impactful. But yeah, now we have Lone Star news. Just a few things.
Just a few.
But
they're big.
We'll end on the Lone Star news. We decided, like, last time we started on the Lone Star news, this time we're gonna end on it. So a mini teaser was dropped after the Prison Break episode because they obviously didn't need to re-air a promo since like they flip-flopped Ghost Stories and Prison and stuff, so they didn't need to do that. But like, this is the one time I did not watch live, and they aired this like live. I was like, oh, what the heck? Because the Hulu effed up, and they like had released the episode before it even aired. So of course I watched it because I was like, I knew something was gonna happen. I did not want to see. I wanted to know as soon as possible.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I watched it. Anyways, that's like sidetrack. So they aired like a 10-second teaser. It's definitely a teaser because people were like messaging me and being like, "Have you seen the Lone Star season 3 promo?" And I'm like, "Guys, this is a teaser. Come on."
This is like Ronin in video form.
Exactly. Oh my god. Okay, so we see Owen in that hat. Like, it looks like a cowboy hat. Okay, guys, what if it's the one that Judd gave him in season 1? I would totally die.
I thought that was black because this one was brown.
Can we just talk real quick about Rob Lowe with facial hair on Lone Star?
Oh my god.
I like that.
I like that too. I was like, I want that to stay for a little bit.
Yeah. Like, I have a feeling that he's like not working officially right now, so that's kind of why we're getting that. Like, I feel like Owen might be going through like a moment. I mean, he was going through a moment last season, but I feel like
through the whole season.
Going through a moment.
I know, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say,
but also it's quite possible he was off duty.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like with the 126 being down and him not taking any new promotions, he maybe has like, he's not doing anything right now.
Right.
He may also just be off until, they figure out what's happening with the station or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean and stuff. But we still get like glimpses of other things. But then we see like ice, which obviously snowstorm, ice, and we see somebody fall through ice, which makes me like, I'm 99.9% sure they were holding a hockey stick, so probably like ice hockey.
They were.
Then we see TK's jacket, and it says Paragon Paramedic, which I will admit, EJ pointed out to us in text.
I was
And
like, it took about 6 go-throughs on that video at slow motion to catch that.
yeah.
But yeah, his jacket doesn't say Austin Paramedic, it says Paragon Paramedic. Which makes me wonder if Tommy, Nancy, and TK had picked up a job with another ambulance company since Austin's 126 was down.
Either that or like they're doing this because of the storm. Like you can think like reinforcements everywhere.
Oh yeah, possibly.
Like it's all possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then like everyone was freaking out about this, but I'm just like nonchalant. Like it's fine. TK falls through the ice supposedly.
Yeah.
The way people are so traumatic about this, people are like, oh my god, he is going to be in a coma. He is going to be hypothermic. Oh my god. I was like, guys,
say that those people are the same people who have been saying that Eddie will die for the last like season.
Every episode for the last season. So
yeah, so like,
I'm not worried.
Do not pay attention to them because they're over dramatic. I'm just saying it as it is.
Yeah, we do know that, I mean, the first few episodes are going to be focused on the cold, which is in reference to the February winter crazy weather storm they had in Texas. But I don't really think TK is going to be that injured.
I'm just, it just makes my eyes roll back in my head. I'm just like, so much I think it's going to fall off.
Give him a heater, give him his boyfriend, a couple of blankets, he should be good. Maybe some hot chocolate, some
a couple of days at most.
Give him his boyfriend.
At most. Give him his
mood.
Personal heater.
Carlos will take care of him.
If we get a Carlos cuddle scene during, like,
I will die. I
will literally love Fox forever. I won't ever criticize them again if they give us that.
Oh, that's some big words there, TJ.
That is a big word.
Yeah. You know what I'm just picturing in my head right now? I'm picturing like Carlos sitting by a fire with a blanket wrapped around both of them.
Me too.
That's the image I just got in my head when we started talking about
Yes. I was gonna say put him in front of a fire, but but again the power was out, so we may have to use the fire.
Oh, they might not want a second fire.
Too soon. Oh crap.
Wait, they could. Now this could work. Okay, so let's just say that TK comes home from work, Carlos is up eating dinner or whatever, and TK says, or in their new place. Hopefully, we see them in their new place, which we should. If not, Foxy got an issue. I will too. Like TK just goes over. It was just like, and lights a fire and tells Carlos to come over after they get done eating dinner. And at that moment, when Carlos looks at the fire, it triggers him of what happened.
Oh, that'd be good.
That'd be good.
That would actually be good. Like, it wouldn't be, like, too much. Like, it'd be like, okay, like, because we want that.
Yes.
Ooh, I should be a writer.
We need to see some Carlos, like, his reaction to what happened. We got it at the end of 212. We did not get much after that. His 213 was focused on Tommy and her husband and all that, and the hospital stuff. And then 214... and all of that drama.
Right.
So we really didn't get much of Carlos's response and like how he's actually doing after that. So I totally understand, like, and I can see him having a reaction to that.
Yeah. And somebody we may know has broken out of teaser jail or spoiler
How do you
jail.
know we didn't pay the bond yet? Who bailed him out?
I got this. Let me just go to Instagram real quick. Damn it.
Imagine it's like who bailed him out. It's a picture of us.
It's like all our arms crossed, like, who bailed him out?
Sorry, we had to. But he tweeted, and he's like, my new favorite emoji is like the chill face emoji, like, you know, the emoji. I don't know how to explain
the
emoji.
Teeth chattering emoji.
Yes.
Of the frozen
like,
person. Yeah.
No. Yeah, like that, and then like a snowflake, and I'm just sitting here when I saw that, and I'm just like, because we hadn't gotten a few things from Rhoda in a couple weeks, and this week we've gotten like little behind the scenes, very small things like that tweet, and I'm just like, Rhoda, we have like literally 2 months until the show airs again. Like, I need you to not like give me this or give us this until like maybe a couple weeks before. Maybe until we have like a legitimate promo. I need a little bit more time.
And I would love it 100% confirmation that they're actually coming back when they're coming back, because he tweeted that and then it had to get taken down.
Yeah, which I'm like 90,
Like,
98% sure that that's like legitimate. Like, I could see it like not being accurate to a week, like meaning they push back like a week. But I feel like that's pretty accurate because I kind of mapped it out. Of course I did. I kind of mapped it out until to like when they would start to the finale, like episodes, and I was like, okay, that is like pretty much like exact. So.
To me, actually, it wasn't to me. I think it is coming back when Ronan said it was, because there was another tweet that I saw before Ronan had posted it that also said that it was coming back on the day it was coming back. If you haven't seen it, oh well.
Yeah.
But
like,
then that tweet was also taken down.
Yeah,
right.
like-
and that's when they kept saying that he was in teaser jail, or he said he was in teaser jail or spoiler jail. So.
And that's
Yeah.
the kind of thing where it's like
It's
either
gotta
you're
be true.
drastically playing up or wow, not smooth.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, it has to be true just because, like, if it were false, I mean, I guess if it were false information, they would want him to take him down, but, like, even so, like, it must have been really true. That's just how I look at it.
Yeah, they okay.
If it's
And
not
then
true, Ronan's gonna have to hear my mouth. So now he'll just he won't even look at my message. So.
Yeah.
And then I think for other behind the scenes content, we got Lisa Edelstein is back on set. She's posted a few pictures. We know we talked briefly about it last time of her posting one with Ronan, and then now she's got a video with Rob and a very baby looking doll that possibly could be little TK, like TK's like little brother.
TK.
Like, I don't know what to call him.
No.
Like, I was. Didn't I say in the text the other day it could be a little like baby Gwenzo? I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I don't got a name for him yet.
Yeah,
but it's
like,
TK's little brother.
TK's
And that's
little
the
brother.
ugliest looking fake baby I've ever seen.
I know, we were. I was like,
Just saying.
it's definitely fake.
Oh yeah,
That's ugly.
Oh
Grace is
god,
like,
I
are you
can't
sure?
wait till- I cannot wait until that episode comes out so Fox can just see, so they can just go through all the comments and be like, what the hell is this? What the hell was that?
Which I understand, like, why, like, they'll have, like, babies on that are, like, older than, like, I would say, like, around 6 months, because obviously we saw baby, G, and I'm one. But, like, I think newborns are not doing it just because, like, you know, COVID.
Well, yeah. I mean, pre-COVID, babies couldn't be seen on a set until they're 6 months old, and then with COVID, they're not having any young children on there.
Yeah, well,
So-
I think, like, it's lightened up a bit now, because obviously we've seen G.
Yeah.
But, like, I think that's why and stuff. But yeah, I'm like low-key excited, but I kind of hate that it's a doll.
Did you notice that the kid's hair was like kind of reddish orange?
Yeah.
And I was like,
I know. I'm like,
That
what
doesn't
does
match.
Enzo look like?
I was like, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, what does Enzo look like? Like,
Okay, what did you guys picture Enzo to look like? Because I definitely had somewhat of an image of him.
I did too. Like when they were talking about Enzo, for some reason, like at first, until I saw that kid, I could like see kind of like an older gentleman, probably in his 40s. I can see some sort of gray hair. For some reason, I get an Italian vibe off that name.
That name is very Italian.
Okay, y'all are gonna laugh. I think I pictured someone who was African American.
Oh, that's
I don't know
interesting.
why, but like my head, I suddenly thought of somebody being African American.
yeah, I
Okay,
can see where that goes. I think Jeff Goldblum is what I'm envisioning.
I don't know who that is.
Hang on, let me Google search that real quick.
All of us don't know.
Jurassic Park.
Oh,
Originally. Now he's got the like this. He's a silver fox. With the,
Oh, I see him.
he does the commercials for that apartments.com or whatever.
Okay, I could see him being an Enzo.
Okay, like I don't know if my like in how I envision Enzo is as far out as Grace's, but like I pictured him to be Asian because Gwen had mentioned that, like, you know, she like does international travel and stuff. And like, I don't know, like in my mind, that's how she met him, like in Japan
The way
in-
all of ours
or
are
China.
like so out there.
Like, I don't know why. Like, I think this is why. Because remember the bowl was like whatever the bowl that Owen broke. That's probably where I got that
The
from.
Japanese something. Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
The ones that's meant to be like the worse their cracks are, the better, the cooler they are. I just looked up what Enzo means, and it's an Italian derivative of Vincenzo or Lorenzo.
Oh, I could have told you that.
Yeah. Means ruler of the estate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very mixed, so I'm not like full Italian, but
Same.
my mom's like half, and my grandfather's full. So yeah, know a lot about that.
There you go.
I'm more Spanish than anything, so yeah.
Yeah, like I'm like a billion different things practically.
I'm so many different things, but like one of my main is Spanish. So
Yeah.
My mom's side of the family is Italian, and my dad's side of the family is African American.
Nice.
nice. I don't think I have any Italian. I was just running through my
No.
head. I'm like,
I think I'm mostly Northern European.
Me
I know
too.
7 different of my heritages, and that's definitely not it. So
Yeah. I mean, I've done DNA testing, so I could literally tell you like everything I am. Just not at this current moment because I don't remember everything like perfectly.
Well, this has been fun.
Yeah,
It has
so
been
Yes.
fun.
Thank you for joining us, TJ.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me again.
Of
Well,
course,
not again,
anytime.
Well, hopefully not for the last time. First time,
Yeah.
not the last.
Definitely not. Like,
Definitely
yes,
not. You will be back.
You will be back.
Yay! I feel like Nancy.
As the 126 will rise again.
It better, otherwise 911 Lone Star is gonna have a riot on their hands. So,
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
So when we were talking about Rob Lowe and like the facial hair and everything, I was like, what if Owen just like completely flew off the deep end and went like all like Bear Grylls and decided to go live on the land or something?
Oh,
He's like,
no.
go live on a farm or something out
I
in the middle
could
of
see
nowhere.
that happening.
I can't
That's
see
the
him doing
thing.
without his skincare.
Oh, yeah, he's a little high maintenance, guys.
He's a little too high maintenance.
He's like Cooper.
Like your dog.
Yes, I just.
You
Sorry,
really just went there.
I did. I just compared Owen to my dog. I mean, you're lucky.
Oh my gosh. I hope we get Buttercup in the first episode.
I do too. We
Speaking of dogs.
Yes.
need a bit
Oh.
more.
If we don't get Buttercup at least 3 to 5 times before the mid-season point, I will riot.
We will, all right.
I'm sure we're gonna get at least one episode, but I'm just like, I want Buttercup in there.
We'll like just make it to the Fox lot somehow and just
Yeah.
start writing.
Right. We're starting to get a list of things we need to ride on if necessary here.
I wonder how many people are gonna say now, is Michelle coming back yet?
Oh my gosh.
Nope.
I'm surprised that hasn't come up yet. Liv's already doing another series.
Oh yeah, I
Like,
didn't even
Liv
know
is
that.
obviously not coming back. She's
Yeah,
done.
that ship is sailed.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like she could possibly do an Abby and come in for an episode. Like I feel like I said recently, I feel like if she were to come back, it would be for Tarlos's wedding.
Yeah, that's how I
Yep.
want her to come back.
I don't need much.
Well, and Rafa's already said, like, in his head, Michelle is just in the background and they're just keeping in touch via, like, communication, like phones and stuff. So to him, she's not gone. She's just not being on screen.
Right.
Right.
So they could totally be hanging out on off screen. You know.
Yeah. I was like, man, and Rafa was just in Ireland this summer. I was like, man, too bad he couldn't have like gone down and visited Liv and in London
Oh yeah.
and had a little Carlos Michelle reunion.
I don't think she's even in London right now.
She
even
might
when
not
she was
be.
in Ireland, I believe she was here in the U.S.
Yeah, I think she's been commuting from here to there now.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Mhm.
All right. First of all, thanks so much to TJ for being our first guest and joining us today for Athena Begins. Thank you guys so much for joining us and listening. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Anchor, and we are also on Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, and almost anywhere where podcasts can be found. On iTunes, please leave us a review, rate us. It would mean a lot to us. You guys can follow the podcast on our socials at 911LS Roundup on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As usual, we also have our Discord server, and the link will be in the description of this podcast and also in our Instagram bio.
You guys can follow me, Katie, at Full of Tarlos on Instagram and at For Love Tarlos on Twitter.
You can follow me, Grace, at RonanRafa911 on Instagram and at CheapGirl31 on Twitter.
And you can follow me, EJ, at EJ8302 on Instagram and Twitter.
And you can follow me, TJ, at Tarlos, with a period after the O, because I know that can get confusing. And that is my username for Instagram and as well as Twitter.
Alright.
Cool.
Awesome.
Bye.
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 Bye.